Hi everybody, Coach Chris Ryder here, and I wanted to ask you, do your hands and wrists take a beating? Do they take a pounding? Are you getting some discomfort and whatnot from your training going into your different exercises or feats of strength that you're using? So if you are, I wanted to let you know about a product that I use personally. I've been using them since 2007. I am a huge fan and absolutely love these devices. They are hand gyros, and the one that I generally like to go for is the NSD Powerball. There's a lot of different models, manufacturers that are on the market for the different Powerballs out there. There's some cheap knockoff brands. They're okay for what they are, but for just a few dollars more, you can definitely get a higher quality piece. This particular model comes with a counter so you can keep track of your revolutions per minute. You can gauge your progress that way. I know there's a lot of you like to keep charts and whatnot on what you're doing, or try to push through and hit a goal for how much you can do with it. So the counter is definitely a way that you can do that. The way these things are set up is pretty simple. I'll get a little closer to the camera here for you. So what it is there's basically, it's a ball inside a ball. So you've got one ball on a spindle inside of the one that you hold. So this is moving in one direction, and it's mounted on this spindle pin inside the ball that you hold here underneath of this rubber grip. If I pop this off, you can take a look here, and there's a track where that pin, you can see that pin, there's a track where that pin spins. So as you're using this is spinning in one direction, and as you get it initiated, then it spins in the other. So it's doing two things at the same time, and it's creating a lot of force trying to flip out of your hand. So it's giving you a very good strength builder, and I like it for active recovery as well. If I feel like my hands, fingers, wrists, forearms just feel tired, sluggish, a lot of lactic acid buildup, just not feeling 100%. I like to get one of these things and give it a go. Get some reps in, get some time in with it. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can go ahead and grab these for doing that. One of which is just grabbing it like a baseball, locking it into your grip. That's going to do certain things for you. That's going to hit a lot more of just wrist, where with this thing so wrapped up into your grip, you're going to lose a lot of the potential benefits onto, we'll just take a minute here for that to pass. So if you're locking in like this, you're going to be losing some of the benefits, whereas when I'm spinning a gyro, I'm grabbing right around the center with fingertips and thumb tips. Just like that. Extended fingers, open fingers. I'm still getting the same motion in the wrist, where we go, say, counterclockwise, and then we can switch and go clockwise, work the wrist in two different directions. But what's happening is, as this spinning like that, it's applying all this pressure and it's trying to jump out of that thumb. So you're getting all of that extra benefit of really squeezing. You're driving your forefingers in against that thumb and building a lot of strength and building some pretty solid thumb pads in the process. Really helps out with building up the tendons for the thumb as well, which will carry over into steel bending, tearing, and all of the other feats. Looking at the difference between the cheap model and a higher quality model is, I'm going to go ahead and give this thing a spin. On the nicer model here, I've got a ripcord inserted. The cheaper model, the way that the tolerances are set up on this thing, if I go to put a ripcord in this and give it a yank, what happens is a lot of times the ripcord will track off of the center ball, hit the spindle, and lock itself up. So it really doesn't work too good with the pull, with the ripcord. But what you can go ahead and do is you can thumb start them. So what I do is I put a lot of pressure. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to get this thing initiated by spinning with my right. But what I do is I take my left thumb and I put a lot of pressure right on the edge of the opening. And I get a lot of pressure build up, and then I just flick over, and you'll feel it start spinning. Should be able to hear that. That zzz that you're hearing, that's the spindle inside the track of the larger ball. It's taking a little bit to get this thing to go smooth. There it went. It hit that crossover point to where it's going smooth. It's got more of a hum now. And you can see the way that I'm holding this. It's a subtle wrist movement. You see how my wrist is working? I'm pointing down at the ground, very similar to a grip lift, which would be a hub lift, pulling in that motion. And then we just switch back from clockwise to counterclockwise. And because of the way that it spins in there, it'll flip back by itself. We can switch hands. Get this going with the other hand. Change directions. It takes a little bit of feel, a little bit of practice to get this thing going. I'm going to let this wind down here, and you can see the momentum of how that just wants to throw itself out of my hand. And there it got past that point of spinning as a gyro, and it's just winding down on the spindle. So that's one of the cheaper models. Again, the models that I really like, I like the NSD Powerballs. This model, which you can also find in the description to the video, it has a counter, so you can keep track of what it is that you're doing. We'll just hit that on. Now, instead of a thumb drive on this one I have the pull cord inserted. So I'm going to go ahead, get a good grip on that pull cord, pull down. Should be able to hear a much smoother operation. This thing is so smooth comparatively. The other one's like a box of rocks rattling around. This thing's very smooth. You can get a lot more benefit out of this. You can hear it humming up really good. This particular model that I'm using also has lights inside, so it lights up in a dark room. It looks pretty cool. We'll switch off here. And again, you can hear how smooth the operation is on this piece. And I'll let you can see there's a lot more torque with this one too, because the tolerances are so much better, better materials, better machining. And this is almost wound down, and I can turn around and fire it right back up, which I'm going to do. Just like that. And again, notice I've got extended fingers driving in on the fingerprint areas. Really working those fingers. Thumb pad, this area off of the pinky side of the hand. Forearm is very engaged. I can feel it up, engagement in through my tricep, a little bit into the bicep. Just a very, very good all-around exercise that has had a lot of carryover for me in my recovery, as well as my strength development, as it translates into feats such as twisting a horseshoe around, because it builds up those thumbs, to bending a wrench over, the ability to squeeze on a hub lift, to drive that thumb into different things that you're doing. Just really, really good benefit from the NSD Powerball and the hand gyros in general. But again, I personally like the NSD Powerballs. there is a link to Amazon in the description for this video where you can go ahead and go straight to the model that I recommend. As I wrap this up, I want to give a shout out to Tap or Sleep Fightwear, Jared Phillips, and Tanya Evinger. Huge congratulations to the team and to Tanya. She is going to be making her UFC debut this weekend, fighting for the 145-pound female belt. All the best, Tanya. Have a great fight. Everybody else, thanks for joining me. NSD Powerballs for active recovery and lower arm strength. Till next time, I'm Chris Ryder.